Hello and welcome. This tutorial is a continuation of the previous. We are going to learn about slider, toggle, drop-down, and scroll view game objects and how to set their properties. We have an already prepared scene. The transition properties of the UI game objects are set up. Our first task is to populate our drop-down game object with the names of some colors. On the drop-down game object, we first create an FSM. In the start state, we will first clear any populated options and add one option that will serve as the label. Next, we will add new options entered in the input field to the drop-down list when we click on the Add button. The global transition UI click will take us to the state called Add Drop-down Options when the mouse button is clicked. In the Add Drop-down Options state, we first get the input field text and store it in a local string variable called input text. Then we use the UI drop-down Add Options action to add the drop-down options. As for the clear button, we just copy the actions in the start state of the drop-down game object and change from owner to the drop-down game object. Let's enter play mode and see the result. So far so good. Now to the toggle game object. A toggle game object is used to represent only two states. For example, on or off, yes or no, true or false. We want to use the toggle game object to switch our point light on or off. In our scene, the point light is facing down and you can see its light on the floor. On the toggle game object, we will create an FSM, add a state called toggling, where we will listen to a change in toggle. When there is a toggle event, the UI bool value change global transition will take us to the toggling state, where we will determine whether the toggle is on. The is on state or the is off state is where we use the activate game object action to activate or deactivate the point light game object respectively. Let's test and see the results. Next is the slider UI. A slider UI game object uses a minimum and maximum values to specify a range of values. The handle on the slider when moved changes linearly the value of the slider within this range. What we want to do now is to change the spot angle of our point light as we change the slider value. Watch how this is done. Let's test and see the results. The final thing to consider is about scroll view GameObjects. Let's look at how to set it up to scroll some text. The scroll view UI GameObject, when added to a scene, already comes with 3 child GameObjects, a viewport, and 2 scroll bars. The scroll rect component of the scroll view GameObject has properties that reference its 3 child GameObjects. Now let's specify the content to be scrolled. For proper layout of the text GameObject, add the vertical layout group and the content size filter components to the content GameObject and set their properties. Let's enter some text into the text GameObject. Let's enter play mode and see. See the actions associated with the scroll view UI GameObjects. This is where we come to the end of this tutorial. Please subscribe to this channel for more videos. Thank you.